It's going to be a big clash, a top-of-the-table clash at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea versus Arsenal. Make sure you join us for all the build-up starting from midnight. Now, let's get a quick thought from both of our gents here. Look, I think Arsenal just looks like the most balanced team this season, isn't it? But Chelsea, on their day, and they've done so well against Barcelona in midweek. Can they make this race a lot more interesting at Stamford Bridge?
They could do for sure, but like you say, it's very much on their day. What they'll need is for them to have one of their real good days, their best days, and Arsenal to be a little bit off it, which I'd be surprised, to be honest. I think Arsenal are just a level above because of their consistency. You know, they can continually play at that high level and creating chances, scoring goals, and sometimes Chelsea have off days and they just don't look like they're creating enough or going to score enough goals, and that can be a problem. I think also Arsenal are centre-backs, whichever pairing it might be, even with Gabriel out for Arsenal, they're stronger in that area, and I think that's what wins titles ultimately.
They're going from strength to strength, aren't they, Arsenal? But in that Barcelona performance, Chelsea were fantastic, almost perfect performance for Chelsea in midweek. But Arsenal's going to be a different type of challenge, isn't it? It's probably maybe trickier than, say, Barcelona.
I think so, yes, but I expect them probably to set up the same way in terms of maybe Neto playing through the middle, Esteval wide right, Garnacho wide left. And given Arsenal a different problem, I think probably your Salibas and Mosquera, whoever it is that plays next to him, they'd be happy to play up against a Delap or someone like that, but a Neto who's coming into pockets, turning and running at them, I think could give them a different set of problems. So I expect them to set up the same.
Well, it's going to be an interesting battle in that midfield, as well as Rice versus Caicedo, two of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Who do you think will get the better match tomorrow at Stamford Bridge? Who do you think will come out on top?
It's a tough one in it as well, because you've got to look at their midfield partners. Zubamendi's been phenomenal this year, and then you look at Enzo Fernandez, who's been great as well. So I think that is where the game is going to be won and lost. Whoever gets the better of that midfield will probably come out on top.
Yeah, can't see much further than that. Exactly what Ross says. I mean, it's what a matchup. You like to say those sort of four players going up against each other. Yeah. It's going to be fascinating to watch, and whether either manager does anything different tactically, particularly, which, you know, I think we know when these teams are at their best, and they probably have to be at their best to beat each other. So I think they'll be more focused on what they do. So it's going to be a great watch, I think.
I spoke to Fofana just a couple of days ago, and I asked him about the league title. Perhaps are they gunning for that? He brushed me off and said, no, we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about winning every game. But do you consider Chelsea to be serious title contenders? Title challengers?
Yeah, well, I mean, Maresca said, the manager's come out and said it's too early for them as well to win the title. But now they'll obviously, he'll try playing it down and taking the pressure off. I mean, listen, if they were to beat Arsenal tomorrow, then you've got to say at this stage of the season, you know, it's still relatively early, but we've played enough games now for
we're about a third in, yeah.
Things to be real, you know. So if they're challenging Arsenal with a third of the season gone, then you'd have to say they'll be challenged. I still think, personally, I think Arsenal will be too strong. Their strength in depth, and like I say, just the level of consistency they can show will be too much for Chelsea to deal with.
Can Chelsea think about the title? Ross?
Yeah, why not? Listen, they've spent close to £1 billion. You know, they've got a serious amount of talent in the squad. Like we've seen with Man City, you know, if something ain't going right, they've got players to bring off the bench to change it. They've got match winners, so why can't they think about it? Listen, it's a guaranteed reply that you'll get anytime you ask the question. We're not thinking about it. We're just focused on the next game and see where it takes us. Yeah, but the closer it gets and the closer they get to Arsenal, if they can, then of course there'll be people behind closed doors thinking about it, especially the owners.
Right, then let's get a quick prediction from both of you then, what you think will happen tomorrow.
I think it'll be a 2-1 Arsenal win.
I'm the same, pretty tight, but I'm going to go 1-0 Chelsea.
Right then, thank you so much, gents, for your thoughts. And of course, you at home, make sure you join us for the build-up over at Stamford Bridge on the Super Sunday starting at midnight. See you there.